Welcome to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast, paying tribute to the reality show that aired on MTV from 2006 to 2010.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills in 2016 and chatting about it weekly for your entertainment.
My name is Susan, and I'm a 30-something photographer who hates most reality shows but loves The Hills. I have been rewatching the show for a few months.
My name is Jem. I'm a professional in my 30s who hasn't seen the show since it originally aired, so I'm really looking forward to reliving the magic again 10 years later.
We watched the first few seasons of the show in real time when we were younger versions of ourselves, and we are so excited to revisit every episode from our new points of view. Today we are discussing Season 1, Episode 8, You Can't Just Be With Me. This episode begins with Lauren, Heidi, Audrina, and Whitney shopping. Is this the first time we've seen all four of them together, Jem?
It's been so long, Susan. I'm not really sure. I've just missed a couple of these girls so much. I'm really excited to see them back hanging outside of Fred Siegel before they go into the bridal store.
This conversation they have is hilarious because Whitney says she enjoyed skipping school today so she could go shopping for this dress for Lauren's birthday. And Heidi's like, oh my gosh, I love ditching. And Lauren says, yeah, you love it so much you permanently ditch school.
Heidi tries to make it sound like a thing that she does every now and then to get a little thrill, like a lot of normal human beings do, but it's her entire life.
Yeah, we all know that Heidi has quit school. It's like she's trying to say she hasn't. It's very odd.
Heidi, you can't lie to us like some people are going to lie a little bit later in this episode.
So they end up at the bridal store. Jem, I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
A common trope, I feel like, in TV shows.
Yes.
That girls go into bridal stores and try on wedding dresses when they're not engaged or getting married. Did you ever do this before you were engaged?
The first time I ever did this, I had just started driving, so I must have been about 16 years old. And one of my friends and I went to a bridal store and tried on wedding dresses. And it was super exciting and fun. We took a lot of pictures. That is the last time I tried on dresses until I was actually getting married, which was many years later. So, I don't know. It almost reminded me of, like in Friends with the whole
that's what I was thinking of, which is the best episode ever. That's one of my favorites. But it's funny you said that because I really was sitting here like, oh, this never really happens. I'm like, okay, so I'm wrong. And also, listeners out there, let me know if you've ever done that because I really did think that was just like a trope that was only in fiction.
And better yet, to all our fans out there, we dare you to send us those pictures of you trying on a wedding dress way before it was time for you to get married.
Ooh.
We dare you.
You can send them through private message or direct message.
Yeah, just for our personal laughter, and if you don't want us to post them, we would just like to see them for ourselves and chuckle.
So then we move on to Teen Vogue, and the girls are having a meeting with Lisa Love.
Yes, Lisa. Yes, queen.
So Lisa tells them they're going to be doing an all-male model fashion show, and they're going to have to look at hot boys all day. That sounds so difficult. And
from 17 to 20 years old.
The girls start, giggling, and the look Lisa gives them is amazing. She, stares at them with a death stare as if, what are you doing? And she says, behave accordingly. And the way Lisa says things is just so stern and
old school.
Yes, and it's just both sit up straighter and shape up, and you can tell they're like, oh, oops.
And Lisa is so over it because every year she has to tell the interns the same thing over and over about behaving, and she's so annoyed with them giggling over the male models who look like stupid little children to her, and she just wants to get her job done, and she's just she can't even as usual, and I freaking love her.
Although I would have to say Lisa would probably give you the stare of death if she heard you saying that she was thinking that she couldn't even. That's very on Lisa Love.
Lisa Love wouldn't know what that meant in 2006, so...
Exactly. Then we go to Bolt House.
Yes!
And the first thing I noticed was Heidi's desk was really pretty. Did you notice that? I never noticed that before. It was like an antique-looking solid piece with panels in it. It was really pretty. You'll have to go back and look at it later because it was a gorgeous desk. I love the way Bolt House is decorated.
What happened to the busts of Abraham Lincoln and Plato that I saw a few episodes ago? Were they gone?
I think they decided to class up the joint a little. I don't know. I didn't look for the bust. I just noticed the desk was gorgeous.
Speaking of classing up the joint, Susan, did you notice what Brent was wearing in this scene?
Like a super snazzy suit?
Yes, he was suited up to the gills. It was a whole new Brent. But he did say, Grammy party.
And did you notice, like, his whole attitude was a little different?
Yeah, he was a little perky.
Yeah, he was definitely very perky. Maybe it was in the afternoon and not early morning or something.
Maybe he had his green juice, and maybe he was just a little less bored than normal.
I mean, he was definitely a little less bored than normal. He looks very spiffy in his suit, though. Brent says Heidi's getting her own party. No one else will be able to be there. She's going to be in charge. It will be just her. He said we're basically competing against ourselves because he and the other people are going to be in another club. And he's like, this is very, very important. And then he told Heidi, you should invite some of your friends. Brent, are you insane? Are you insane, Brent?
How is Heidi ever going to get the message about what she is or is not supposed to do when she's getting all of these mixed things from Brent Bolthouse?
Do you know what has happened? Do I know what has happened? I've watched so many newer episodes, I'm getting them mixed up.
Susan, my conspiracy theory for this elaborate plan is that Blaine from Teen Vogue was behind all of this because he wants the drama so bad and nothing bad enough is going down at Teen Vogue. So he somehow secretly communicated with Brent.
Well, obviously Brent and Blaine are probably besties, right?
They would have to be. They're super dramatic yet bored all the time together forever.
They probably actually have a club in which they meet to discuss how they have to deal with these girls filming the hills all the time and how they can better get on camera to have their moments of drama or boredness respectively.
You might not be far from the truth if you think about how people kind of get together to talk about like other groups of friends or their coworkers and things like that. I'm sure these secondary characters on shows like this had to have venting time themselves to just rant and rave about how ridiculous it is that these youngsters are becoming rich and famous while they're working their butts off in real life.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure they had a Facebook group. Oh, wait, Jim. There were no Facebook groups.
They had a MySpace page.
So Brent says he wants a full report tomorrow, and he kind of smirks at her as if he's saying, I know, like, things are going to go down, but I want still want a full report. So then we head to Teen Vogue, and the girls are looking at cute boys.
And giggling. And who should come along?
Striped Blaine.
But Blaine.
He's all smug in his stripes.
He loves some stripes. I'm starting to notice that. That seems to be a theme with him. And then somebody brings up the fact that they're doing their event at Quixote, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's where Audrina works. And then it's just like a giant party of excitement because they make the connection with Audrina.
Yeah, they're definitely very excited about that. And then they're just looking at pictures of cute boys on the computer, calling to get male models. It's all like male model central. They have to get some great male models for this go see. So then we head to LAX nightclub where Heidi will be working by herself for the evening. And Jason and Lauren show up to support her because Brent said she could invite people.
And Heidi says thank you for coming out and supporting me, which is really sweet. But Susan,
I know what you're going to say. Ed Hardy.
Dang it. Yes.
Jason is wearing an Ed Hardy shirt.
Why does he keep doing this to us? It is not okay.
It was 2006, though.
No, it was still not okay.
Guess what, Jem? It's 2007 now. That is because we have New Year's.
Stop it.
Yes.
My mind is blown.
Mine too.
Oh, so it was only 9 years ago instead of 10 years ago. It was so recent.
However, I would like to take this opportunity to call Brent Bolthouse a liar. Because Elodie let Lauren and Jason at the club, which means, as we all know, Elodie is over Heidi, so Heidi was not alone.
I didn't notice Elodie in this scene. You're so observant.
I know, thanks.
I mean, one of us has to be. So this is a very pivotal scene, Susan. This might be the first time that Lauren is somewhat cast in a bad light, but I think we need to discuss the circumstances surrounding the thing that she does. I'm not going to defend anyone for lying for any reason, but I'm going to give a darn good argument for why Lauren told these lies in this scene.
First of all, you shouldn't have to ask your boyfriend for a kiss.
Ugh, so sad.
That made me mad.
Like, he doesn't even want to give you a kiss when he sees you? Good Lord.
I mean, he didn't see her. They came together.
Oh, well, I think he's just too cool for school, and he, like, doesn't want to give a little kiss in the club, and Lauren just wants to be like, we're together on a date at the club. Let's kiss.
Let's discuss this lie.
The big lie.
You tell me why you think it was kind of okay.
I don't think it was kind of okay. I don't think it was okay at all. In Lauren's mind, she was preventing a major rage fit, a major meltdown on Jason's part. In her mind, she was thinking, how can I avoid this night being a complete disaster? However, she was not thinking of the long-term effects because there's no way Jason's not going to find out by hook or by crook down the road. So she's just making it worse for herself. So I don't condone her for telling the lie. I understand her thought process behind it for that night to basically save the night and, like, not embarrass Heidi at the club, et cetera, et cetera. But I have no justification for what she did.
The thing that I objected to it about it wasn't just that she said, oh, yeah, it's just girls one time. She said it 3 or 4 times.
She kept volunteering information unnecessarily.
Me think the lady doth protest too much. However, Jason, I think, knew. I know we're not supposed to talk about how fake it is, but I think the producers probably already told him. He knew. So then we head back to the Hillside Villas, and the girls' apartment is very messy.
Well, I mean, Heidi's only slept 6 hours in 2 nights, so she can't be expected to clean.
Lauren says, Heidi, that's your job. And Heidi looks confused.
Heidi's like, I work during the day, and then I work during the night. And Lauren is just not having it. She's just like, I don't care about your stupid complaints, Heidi.
Jem, did you notice what Lauren was doing?
No.
She was doing the 2007 version of a Pinterest board.
Was she making a vision board?
Yes. Well, she was cutting things out of magazines, and I assumed she was then going to post them in her vision board. Now, I know that's what they have to do for a lot of school assignments. They have to make books and lookbooks and stuff, so I assumed that's what she was doing, but I was just laughing. I was like, I wonder if they're allowed to do Pinterest boards now instead of getting things from magazines. Probably not, but...
Our fans out there who are in fashion school, please let us know via social media or email if you're allowed to use Pinterest. It's kind of like when I was in college, I'm about to date myself. We were only allowed to use one internet source when we wrote a paper. Out of all of the, different books that we had to cite for research, you could use one website. Okay, I just really dated myself, so let's just move on to Quixote.
Jem, you're old.
I'm so fun, though.
I'm sure you would love to move on to Quixote, but we're not there yet. Jem.
Well, I'm in a hurry.
Clearly.
I'm relaxing on my spoonk, which is like a mat that has these spikes sticking out of it. It's like an acupressure mat, and it's basically like the bottom of a golf shoe covering an entire mat. So it hurts a little bit when you lay on it, but then it feels amazing. This is my favorite possession I own.
Well, you need to stop relaxing so much, and let's talk about the real important stuff in life, which is the hills.
Okay, I'm back on track.
So anyway, Lauren confesses to Heidi that she lied to Jason, and Heidi's like, oh my God, he's gonna be so mad at you. So then, Jem, we go to Quixote Studios.
And this is the scene where the girls get all hot and bothered over all the male models that are extremely young.
Models!
And Lauren's outfit, Susan, she's wearing that long white cami and the full skirt. And oh my gosh, that was like my jam in those days. Ugh, nostalgia galore.
Definitely. Whitney and Lauren had a hard time setting up the stands.
But you know what? Lauren is surprisingly handy. Like the stuff that she figured out, I would have just been like, let's go find someone who knows what they're doing. She did get it together.
Those stands are really difficult to set up. I use those kind of stands at any bridal shows I do to hold my photos, and they are really hard to put up. So I was not making fun of her.
Okay, just making sure because we're only going to be mad at Lauren one time in this episode, and it already happened. Oh, here comes Blaine.
Yay, Blaine!
Oh, hey, Blaine, bring in the drums.
He's like, this is an intense casting setup.
Whatever that means.
What does that mean?
Blaine, what are you talking about? Why are you just saying dramatic things to be dramatic? There's nothing there. It's a casting setup.
It was so intense.
It was so typical Blaine, Susan.
He's so dramatic.
So dramatic.
I love Audrina in this scene because she is so excited. She can barely contain her excitement about all the cute boys coming in. And she's like, are you here for the male modeling? It's that way. And she's like smiling and giggling, and I just love it. She's so excited.
Audrina's adorable.
And suddenly there are shirtless guys everywhere.
It's just raining men, hallelujah, and Whitney is about to lose her mind to just telling everyone to take their shirt off.
It's so funny because Whitney and Lauren are so excited, and I wish that MTV had put a balloon coming out of their heads with Lisa Love's face saying, behave accordingly. That would have been hilarious. But they did not, and they let me down.
And then Lauren has to be all prissy, and she's like, you're such a perv, Whitney, even though they're both like giggling and laughing about the same stuff. Whitney does kind of lose it a little bit, though, which I think is hilarious. And
like,
we'll
she's
discuss
blushing
later.
and kind of getting embarrassed. I kind of loved it.
So this is a scene where Tom Sandoval from Vanderpump Rules appears. I did not make it past the first probably 3 episodes of Pump Rules, so I can't talk about it anymore. But we did want to acknowledge that for normal people out there who watch more reality TV than Susan and I do.
I don't even know what that show is.
I mean, Lisa Vanderpump and I have been through a lot, and we're not in a good place right now. That ship sailed a few years ago. I don't want to talk about it. So let's just get back to the male models.
So Audrina is talking to a model who's wearing his sunglasses inside, and she invites him to the bar that night. And as they're exchanging numbers, she says something about, yeah, haha, I'm giving you the reject number. Remember the reject number?
Yeah.
He would give it to people, and they'd call and they'd be like, they'd be like, you have been rejected, blah, blah, blah. Which actually, I never actually did in real life, because that is really very rude, and I wouldn't do that. Whitney says, where's your party at tonight? And the model says, I'm gonna be all over. Real smooth.
And then Whitney has another giggling fit for the 50th time. On the way out, when they're leaving Audrina's office, the girls are like, okay, we're done, bye, and like all the formalities. And one of the girls reaches over and rings Audrina's little bell on her desk, and she instinctively reaches out her hand and stops the bell from ringing. You can tell it's just one of those annoying things that people do all the time, and she just cannot stand the sound of it, and it instinctively stops it. And I thought that part was funny, because I was like, leave Audrina's bell alone. She has a hard life.
So then we are in Bella Restaurant, and Heidi has joined all the girls, and she wants to hear all about the boys that they saw, and they laugh over how they engineered Audrina into talking to the boy.
Do you not love this whole dinner scene when they're all sitting together and just like laughing and having a good time? It's just like any normal girls' dinner anywhere in the world.
Yes, definitely. So Audrina was like, he's kind of pretty. I usually go more for the bad boys. And Jem, all I could think was, if only Audrina could find a combo of both a pretty boy and a bad boy.
It is never going to happen. There's no such person, Justin Bobby, coming up on this show.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, nothing. She said pretty boys are nice to hang out with or whatever, but they're kind of boring. I agree with you on that, Audrina, but the rest of what she said about the bad boys, I lost interest.
No, I agree. I don't like
who
pretty
knows
boys
what's to come in her future.
So then Lauren says Jason is rough around the edges.
Ugh, no, that's not the phrase I would use. Jason, you're rude and you're a hot mess and you need help on multiple fronts and you're mean. That doesn't mean you're rough around the edges. Rough around the edges means that you go, horseback riding in the Rocky Mountains during a snowstorm or something. Jason is not rough around the edges. He doesn't know how to build a bonfire in the desert.
And then all of a sudden, they see Audrina's boy from the photo shoot as at the bar.
What a coincidence.
And he has no idea that the girls are there surrounded by cameras.
What?
Such a coinky-ding. I have to say this model guy is much cuter with his sunglasses off. Like, I was not impressed at the model shoot, but I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. But did you hear Heidi? She's like, what is his friend wearing?
Was she judging this guy's clothing as I judged the Ed Hardy shirt on Jason earlier?
I mean, it was weird. It was like a poncho-looking thing. Talking about riding a horse in the Colorado mountains, it looked like he was about to go do that.
Maybe he was rough around the edges.
But he came over, and his friend kind of came over too, and you could only see him a little, but he was definitely there. And the girls are like giggling about this. It's so funny. They're like giggling, and he's sitting right there.
Like they've never met boys in their lives.
So then we head to our favorite apartment in all the land, Brian and Jordan's apartment.
Susan, I have one word to describe this apartment. That word is dismal. It is the saddest. It's worse than a bachelor pad. They don't even have anything on the walls. They don't even have like the empty, liquor bottles lined up like boys that age used to do. I don't know if they do that anymore. It's pitiful and sad, and I don't want to be there. I don't want to watch this scene. And then, of course, things go horribly wrong.
But Jim, genius doesn't have time to put stuff on the walls. When you have someone like Brian who lives there, who has the brilliant idea of mixing orange soda and orange Gatorade together. I mean, what? That is amazing.
And something about how it's only going to help him because he has to take care of his hot body or whatever.
That was Jordan, but you
Brian and Jordan, they're
did
the
not
same.
watch this episode very closely, Jim.
They're the same person.
That was classic Brian.
So who's the one who spills the beans? Jordan?
Of course it was Jordan because he's heard it from Heidi.
Heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who. Susan, when Jason heard the news that Lauren had lied to him and he immediately left the room in a very awkward, abrupt fashion, do you think he just went into a bedroom and put his fist through a wall? Because that's what I pictured him doing.
A part of me wondered if he was honestly trying to get away from the cameras.
So he wouldn't just lose it?
Yeah, I think so. I think Jason is very aware of the cameras a lot of times, and that's why he comes across as so awkward a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think he's 100% comfortable with them. He was like that on Laguna Beach, too. So I don't know. Maybe that's his personality. But I think, honestly, he was like, I'm out of here. He probably felt ambushed a little. I would have.
Yeah, if he really didn't know about that and found out on the spot, I don't know. I just imagined him calmly and quietly going into the room next door and just putting a big old fist through the wall.
But before he walked out, and when they were first talking about Audrina and how she was dating all these guys, and Brian's complaining about him, like, Brian, that was a really long time ago that you went out on one date. Audrina does not want to have coffee with you. That is done. No.
Brian needs to let it go.
Yeah, you have no chance. Give it up. And then Brian was like, well, I just hate those male models, how they're always talking about being male models. I'm like, I'm pretty sure when you went on your date with Audrina, you were bragging about being an actor.
Yeah, and he said he was tall, so he was the only person who could play that particular part in some particular production. He was not shy about his resume and qualifications.
You're such a hypocrite, Brian. So then we head back to the Hillside Villas.
Do you think that those girls really did laundry?
That was my first thought. I could believe Lauren doing laundry. Heidi doing laundry? No. Jordan was probably showing her how to do it for the first time.
Maybe they do like to do laundry because they're very fashion conscious and they're into textiles and stuff. So they want to be sure that their things get washed properly and they pay attention to those sorts of things. I can't relate to that because I dislike laundry. And that is why our little sister, who's half my size, ends up getting half of my wardrobe every few months.
Because you keep shrinking it.
Because I keep shrinking things.
So they start discussing Lauren and Jason's relationship, and Jordan says,
their relationship just sucks.
In his super southern accent.
Can we talk about pots calling kettles black? Come on.
I mean, Jordan, really? The funny thing is, Heidi kind of says that. That's kind of her point, was that when we fight too, you can't just say that. And then Jordan uses the R word again, which we already talked about.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Ew.
He says they are insecure, immature, and they aren't even ready to be in a relationship.
I mean, that's just a couple trying to make themselves feel better about their crappy situation by discussing another couple who's just as big of a mess as they are. But, Susan, what does Jordan's necklace say?
I did not notice.
It's a long word, and I couldn't tell what it was. See, just to remind all of our listeners, I'm still watching on MTV.com, and you're watching, I think, DVDs, right?
Correct.
So I just kind of got, MTV website up. I cannot wait to get to season 2. I'm watching Hulu on my nice big screen TV. I don't know what his necklace said, but I was really hoping that you had made a note of that. You've kind of let me down in a small way.
I apologize. Maybe it said
Heidi
stuck in a relationship. which he says they are not stuck in a relationship. So they argue.
And they fight. And
It's like
huge.
a snore. Then we move to Audrina and Heidi discussing the situation in the kitchen behind everyone's back.
Susan, the only thing I have to say about this scene is that Audrina has her hair up and her back to the camera and has a giant tattoo on the back of her neck, which makes me even more jealous of her than I already am, because I love Audrina. I love tattoos and rock and roll and awesomeness, and I will never be any of those things. This is the debut of the neck tattoo, and it's pretty epic. I don't know what it was, but it was huge and awesome.
I don't know what it is either. So then we head back to Teen Vogue, and Lauren and Whitney are driving to a photo shoot, and Lauren gets a text from Jason that he knows, or text from someone that Jason knows.
And somehow the flip phone is still in the picture, bothering me. But anyway, go ahead.
And Lauren says, oh, yeah, I just forgot to tell him. Okay, Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't hiding it, she says.
Yeah, right.
Lying again.
He is so sensitive and will get mad. Okay, this is true. He is sensitive and he will get mad.
Yes.
So I understand, like you said earlier, why she did that. However, she had to know, like, he was going to find out from someone.
She's just making it worse for herself later.
And Jason, let's not forget, is 19 years old. I think most 19-year-old guys are going to be jealous. I'm not saying it's okay, but they are going to be jealous about that because they don't realize that they can be secure in their relationships yet.
All you 19-year-old boys out there listening to Words Unspoken, which is like 99% of our listening audience, don't behave like this, even though Susan is condoning it.
I am not condoning it at all. I'm just saying what she said was true, so I understand the impetus of not wanting to tell him to not deal with the drama.
And it's her birthday, and she's like, let him be mad. And Whitney talks about trust issues, or trust-ish, according to Whitney. And Whitney does an epic eye roll, and it's just like, come on, it's Lauren's birthday. Like, let's just take a break from being an absolute a-hole and, like, be cool for the day. She was cool on your birthday.
When I was 19 years old, I was in a wedding, and on the way home from the wedding, I was talking to my then boyfriend, now, of course, ex-boyfriend, on the phone. And you were in the background talking to someone else, and you loudly proclaimed, ha, wasn't it funny when that groomsman was hitting on us?
Oh, well, I'm so glad that I could contribute to good times in your life. I can see the story is about to go horribly wrong.
And he flipped out on me and was like, what? Someone was hitting on you? I can't believe that. And said, why didn't you tell me? I was like, well, number one, I didn't really notice.
I
Jem
definitely
just thinks
noticed.
Every guy is always hitting on her.
Every guy is always hitting on me.
But I was just like, really? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? What? I wasn't doing anything.
It's kind of like these boys in the hills where it was all your fault. How dare they?
I understand Lauren's pain is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I don't even want to get into my stories. So when they're on the phone, Jason says a little liar and then says all this other stuff to her. And he sounds like he's under the influence of some kind of substance. But, you know, I'm always assuming that about Jason. And then Lauren's so amazed and happy. He didn't even get mad at me.
But Jason's definitely right.
Yeah, she did lie.
In one respect, he's right. Like, you should tell him the truth. But if she had told him the truth, he still would have gotten mad at her. So either way, he was going to get mad at her. But now he can be all self-righteous about it and be like, well, if you had told me the truth, that's why I'm mad at you. And that's not true. I think he still would have gotten mad. But anyway.
Yeah, she couldn't. There was no good outcome in this situation.
I think Lauren should rethink this relation, as Whitney would probably say.
Those trust-ish.
Then we move to the Hillside Villas, and the doorbell rings. And guess what, Jem? I know it was your favorite part of the episode.
My favorite thing that happens. More effing flowers.
With a very mysterious message from Jason.
These people and their flowers. What power do flowers have that I don't understand? Oh, Heidi was wearing an Abercrombie shirt in this scene that I think I used to have.
Jem, to be fair, you and I are people who do not like getting flowers, and we have forbidden our husbands to get us flowers, but most people do love flowers.
I just really love food.
Well, we both love food, but most people like flowers more than food. We're probably in the minority.
Oh, speaking of food in the scene, Heidi is eating a bagel. And you know what I really love about Heidi is she lives a very carb-heavy lifestyle. And I appreciate that about her because that is how I live my life. I always notice when Heidi's carving it up, and it just makes me feel a certain bond with her, which I don't get with Heidi a lot.
So then we head to the Standard Hotel. Lauren arrives in a limousine, and Jason is waiting on the rooftop with a rose.
A single rose.
He is so romantic, Jim.
Lauren, will you accept this rose?
Oh, wait, no, he's not at all.
No, he's not.
He does have a fabulous dinner in the room. There's candles and roses everywhere, and it's gorgeous. I mean, what a beautiful setting. It's so romantic. And then they proceed to have the most awkward dinner ever.
Oh, he's wearing his dog tags that she gave him.
Of course he is. He has to be sporting his black diamonds.
And then they get into this whole, like, I've got that thing. He said he had a thing, but I couldn't understand what he was talking about.
He wanted to meet one of his friends at the club who was in town, is what I got out of it.
And then he's like, you meet up with Heidi and Jordan, like, planning out her night so he can escape from her.
And he asked her like 3 or 4 times, what do you want to do? And every time she pretty much was like, I want to stay here with you. And she actually stood up for herself by being like, I've told you that's what I want to do. Like, why are you arguing with me? Do you notice that when Jason gets awkward sometimes that he uses a British accent?
No, I can't hear anything that he says.
This was like the second time I've noticed in certain situations, like, thank you, ma'am, or something like that. And it came out with a British little twist.
What about when she's asked for like the 80th time, what do you want to do? And he goes, what's that?
Like he can't hear her. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you say the thing that I didn't want you to say.
So guilt trippy. They were like guilt tripping each other and arguing.
You know what, Susan? All of the rose petals in America can't make up for that miserable conversation that they had.
Did you hear him say, I never thought I would do something like this? And he's like, just kidding. I was like, I think that was an okay statement to make.
Yeah.
It proves like that you really care about her, that you did something that you thought you would never do.
Yeah, he just never knows the right thing to do or say.
He is so weird. But he's been like that ever since Laguna Beach. He was super awkward with the girls he dated then. It's like he doesn't know how to even deal with it. I feel like Jason should not be in relationships. Jason should be playing the field and he'd be a lot happier.
He just gets by with his like brown eyes and his alleged cuteness, which I don't really see, but is apparently there. This kind of starts wrapping up the episode, but I have to say, I never want to see Jason and Lauren ignoring each other grumpily in bed again. So uncomfortable.
They look miserable.
It's the worst.
Of course, there are TV cameras like in their face.
And here we are, Susan, with another sad ending to what should have been a very happy occasion.
Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test?
So the Bechdel test, since we did not review it last week, and some of you might not be caught up from our initial episodes, is a list of questions that you can ask. First one being, are there 2 named female characters in this episode?
Yes.
Second question, do these 2 named female characters speak to one another?
Yes.
And the third, and what's lately become kind of a disappointing question, do they talk to each other about anything else besides a man?
Yes.
When
they talked about how Heidi's only slept 6 hours and Lauren says that's your job.
Oh, good job, Susan.
Ding, 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 ding.
I thought this was going to fail yet again.
It was a close one, though.
It was
I think that was it.
Well, thank goodness for the scene of the 3 hours of sleep or the 6 hours.
No, Brent talked to Heidi about her. Oh, Brent's a boy. Doesn't count.
Brent's a boy. Brent Baldhouse is a boy.
Hello, Susan. Obviously, I'm a boy.
I'm a boy. Winners of the week.
Jim, my winner of the week this week was difficult. Very difficult to pick out.
Go on.
So my winner of the week was Audrina.
Oh.
Because she had all those cute boys. She talked to a cute boy. And he came to a restaurant later. That's a win in my book. And frankly, no one else could possibly be a winner, so.
Oh, I know who else could be a winner, Susan.
Who, Jim?
Obviously.
No, I forbid you.
Yes. The florists of Los Angeles.
No.
Because there's, yet again, too many flowers in this episode. Florists of Los Angeles were cleaning up Everyone's happy. Floral industry is booming because of Jason Waller. Everything's great. Florists are the winners of the week.
What about the candeliers, Jem?
What's a candelier?
Oh, no, I just made it up. Because about the candles.
Well, the florist probably supplied those too.
Okay.
Candelier.
Jem
And Susan's
Funniest
moments. Okay, Jem, my funniest moment, I've already discussed it, but I could go with nothing else, was the Gatorade and the orange soda mixing. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty classic. The only reason I don't like you bringing that up again is because I just got a flashback to the apartment that makes me uncomfortable. But other than that, that is a great funniest moment.
Also, it makes me think of Jordan's orange hair.
His hair is orange.
It's turning orange. Was it like that in the beginning?
Is it from all of his soda drinking?
We have just made a brand new discovery.
It's like the Mad Hatter, like the haberdashers of the olden days when they used mercury in their hats and their hair turned orange.
Oh my gosh, Jordan uses mercury.
Jordan is the Mad Hatter. Who did fall down the stairs with a hat on in the previous episode. Do you want to hear my funniest moment?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were agreeing with me that was a funniest moment.
No. I, again, was reviewing the episode. My husband was nearby, quote unquote, not watching, and I couldn't remember the funniest moment. I was like, babe, when was the part where I laughed really hard? And he reminded me that it was when Whitney had the laughing fit around the models, and she just kept making all those hilarious faces. That was legit funny.
That
like
was
all of that
funny.
Whitney stuff was funny.
Yeah.
Because she's always so put together and calm, and like nothing ever phases her, but she just freaking lost it in this whole episode, which was so great, and I loved it.
And I just love seeing Whitney with all the other girls because I'm almost like 99% certain that she has never been with all three of them at the same time. And she was shopping with them at the beginning, and then she went to dinner with them later. So I enjoyed seeing like their dynamic when they were all together.
Have we ever seen her introduced to Audrina?
No.
I don't think so. So that was the first
off
time they really
camera.
did hang out.
Oh, I'm sure they've met, but it was just off camera. Thanks for listening to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast. Here's the scoop on all of the many ways you can contact us. We'd love to hear your feedback and ideas for the show.
You can email us at wordsunspokenpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find us on Twitter at The Hills Podcast and Instagram and Facebook at Words Unspoken Podcast.
We are even on Tumblr, which definitely did not exist when The Hills first aired. And you can also visit our website, wordsunspokenpodcast.com.
Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. We are also available on Stitcher, Google Play, and SoundCloud.
We'll talk to you next Friday.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
Good thing I'm in charge of the editing.
Good thing you're
I mean, there's
bossy.